I'm recording, Davey. We're live. We're live on the podcast. This is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Welcome, everyone, to the Unfiltered Minds podcast with your host, Davey Dollar.
Hi, that's me. And your other host, yeah.
This is unfiltered, unedited audio because I don't feel like doing it. And we're just unfiltered minds. So honestly, I wanted to get started about like the actual marketing strategies companies are using. Opera.
Yeah.
I honestly do like what Opera's doing. I think it's very smart. But they can't bait us with updates. Like the sex update. They baited us with it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too for my taste.
What in the world?
Okay. Yeah, hang on. Let me go to Twitter, because Twitter's one of the websites.
You're going to one of the websites?
Twitter is one of the websites of all time. Yeah. I mean, they can't really go around promoting the sex update if it's not really happening.
Honestly, you know? I agree. But let's talk about recent video game drama.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of End Record, or I think that's the name.
No.
What is it? What is it called?
I haven't heard of it. What?
It is a game. It's supposed to be body cam footage video game.
Oh, hang on.
A Trainwreck, I believe. Trainwreck shared his thing from Unrecord, not End Record. I'm sorry. Trainwreck said, "I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but the level of realism in games should be heavily moderated in shooters." And I think that's mainly because if you look at Unrecord's game like post, he showed that it's real. Like it was done in Unity. And a lot of people.
Wait, Unity? I thought it was Unreal Engine 5.
I thought it was Unity, or it might have been.
No, I'm pretty sure.
It might be that.
Is like, Unreal Engine 5 is like. It's
like Unreal Engine. Yeah, it is Unreal Engine. That's my fault. But
yeah, better say Unity would never.
Yeah, Unity would never. Unity would never like be as kind as it is. Which is
like the main thing is like Unreal Engine. It allows this kind of quality.
Yeah, I understand, but he fired back and actually was like, "Hey, shut up! My game's kind of real, or very real." And he actually showed like, footage, like actual footage, because we've had this kind of situation before where some of these games are realistic. We see them on Twitter, they're posted, they get hyped up, and then when they come out, it's not real at all. Like it's quite trash. But in this one, we can actually see that he's actually like in Unreal Engine, kind of clipping around the walls, shooting. But what really throws me off is kind of just how the camera movement. Like I believe it's an actual game, right? It's just the camera movement in the video just kind of like threw me off. Because I'm used, like, take Doom or any other game, for example. It's just straight left, straight up, straight down, straight right. But in this one, his camera's, like, actually shaking, and it looks like a real person doing it instead of the video. But it just might be that good. But you can't be sure.
Yeah. It's wild how far the technology has come. And, like, there's a lot going into it. But, like, the controversy around it, that's like, I get the idea, like it's really cool in terms of a concept,
Yeah,
but with everything going on around police and whatnot, that's what's
kind of drawing in that controversy. Because I think Alex really has this game planned out. I don't think he intended for it to be drama, but what was it? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Because I know one specific Twitter account that reports on these kind of things picked up a game a long time ago, and it was made by a sole developer, but it was way different. Or it might have been Alex as well. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was the one... Or, no, this was it. It was Alex. He didn't say what the name of the game was, but he just said, I'm working on a body cam style game, and a lot of like big Twitter accounts picked up on it. And I don't think we ever saw it, or that might have just been the demo for Unrecord, because that was 10/12/22, so that was last year. So I can see, because it doesn't look as realistic as it does now in that one. So what's very nice is that you can actually tell that there is some improvement going towards it. Because the updates are taking a while, but I think that's to be expected with how like realistic this game is going to be if we are seeing what we're seeing.
I mean, in my opinion, I think like this type of game, you know, like it's literally meant to be like a body cam. That's kind of like another part of it that makes it so controversial, because like it's the idea of like it's letting you play as a cop, basically. Like that's what they said.
Well,
where you're playing as a cop, and in the real world, you know, those body cams are more meant to, you know, make sure that cops are doing their job right.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand where you're coming from, and Alex actually did make a response to this on their Q&A page and said, pro-police or anti-police? And they said, as a French studio addressing a global audience, the game does not engage in any foreign policy and is not inspired by any real-life events. They have tried to avoid any undesirable topics such as discrimination, racism, violence against women and minorities, and the game will have no biased take on criminal acts and police violence. So I don't think they intended for like all of the controversy to even happen. They thought, oh, it's just a silly little body cam game, you know? But then when they see it and they come out, they're like, oh, people don't understand, because they're in the French, they're in the France. But in the US, we see it completely different. So everyone's just kind of like hopping on that bandwagon to be like the first to say something in about it.
Yeah, so, no, I'm to be clear, I'm not saying I also think it's like a bad idea. Like, I feel like, you know, if it's executed right, it could be really good.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of people immediately from the connection to what's happening in the real world.
Yeah.
It can definitely exist, but I say to get the most support, that, like, I know they're not aiming for controversy.
Yeah.
Controversy, but it's just how it is. Like, with the way people are, you know, a body cam type game could be much better used in a horror genre. That's a lot more, you know, fiction.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, like it's not making any real life connection.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like this specific game is getting different treatment because you have Ready or Not, the SWAT simulator, people treating it like it's child, like it's the internet's child. But when Unrecord comes out, everyone's just suddenly like against it for no reason. But then when anyone tries to bring up a valid argument, like, oh, you guys haven't said anything about Ready or Not, everyone's like, oh, well, that's different, so it doesn't matter. So that's what like confuses me. I don't understand where that sense of favoritism comes in.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, like, you don't really see many games. Like you have a lot of first-person shooter games.
Yeah.
But the most that they're based in the real world is the effectiveness of, like, you know, a past war or something.
Yeah.
You don't really see any that, you know, I guess really does police that much. I mean, I guess most you can do is like GTA 5.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you have GTA 5.
In terms of having you play as, which is role play, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, because I mean, there's GTA 5 roleplay, and then you see like police and events in games like Call of Duty, all that stuff. But they just like stay away from it completely, unless you're playing as like a cop character, like how you are in the MI6. But I don't know if that would be even close to being compared to like what we're discussing. I just felt like it'd be something to bring up. But you just don't see a lot of police role-playing games anymore because everyone's afraid to just get into that controversy because people are like in different states of the world. Some police is different, some is like completely horrid, and then just some people just don't understand how different it is.
Oh, absolutely. Like I think I actually saw it in like a TikTok, like Reddit text to speech thing, where it was someone who was visiting from another country and they were in the United States. I think they were like from Australia. They got pulled over by police, and where they're from, it's actually more custom. Where if once a person gets pulled over, they get out of the car and walk and bring their stuff over to the police car.
Yeah.
To make it more of a courtesy for them. And sure enough, as soon as he started walking out and walking towards the car, the cops came out and like, I think either tackled him or just like threatened.
Yeah.
Threatened him. It was like a really confusing moment, and the guy explained himself, and he was like, and the police were like, oh wow, like it seemed from like a fantasy, like another world.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I can understand somewhat of the police's standpoint when they ask you to stay in the vehicle because they've been working for years on that job. They've had unexplainable, horrible, terrible situations. It could have been someone running out with them with a weapon, a melee weapon, something that could potentially injure them. And so, in the U.S., we all know that's very high. So I guess that kind of just makes everyone nervous, especially when you get pulled over, because you don't know how that cop's going to react. There are corrupt cops, there are bad cops, and there are good cops. But you never know what you're going to get, so it really just depends on their mood. But like other countries, you can get out, you can say, hey, what's up, why'd you pull me over? They'll explain it, you're good to go. But the U.S., it's like 10 minutes. It really just depends on your attitude and their attitude.
Yeah.
It's a lose situation for both, because at any point that cop has more authority over you than anything, so he can escalate it at any time and say that was your fault, and it would be his better word against yours. So I can understand. No, you're good. I can understand why controversy regarding the game would be kind of tense. But it's just a sad situation to see it overall. It's just terrible. I mean, everything is terrible, really. Every day when I wake up, I'll just hear something bad on the news, or like just see something terrible on Twitter, like harassing someone for who they are. Anything.
Twitter sucks.
It does.
It is absolutely awful.
It is. But honestly,
I have 20 accounts.
But honestly, another thing we can talk about is like digital family, pretty much, because not everyone has the best household growing up, and I personally had the internet as like my only friend. And I don't think people are realizing that, because I'll see people like getting like absolutely berated over it. They'll be like, "Oh, why are you on the internet all the time? Hey, everyone is critical. Today we'll be on the internet." You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I think people don't understand how bad anti-socialism is in the country. Like, people cannot socialize. Because they could like say one tiny thing and they would be canceled, done, gone, evaporated, dead from the internet. So it's really just one the barnacles. So I just think that what I'm trying to say is I miss how the world used to be, where you could just be free, not have to worry about getting canceled for things. I'm not saying I'm not saying I want to say offensive things. I would never. But things that are not offensive are being considered offensive now.
I don't know about that. I think, you're a really terrible person.
Listen, man, just because I declined you because I was talking to the bank is a completely different situation. You should not hate me for such situations. Listen, man, I got locked out of my bank account, and it was your fault.
My fault you got locked out of your bank account.
Yes.
I'm in your walls right now.
Okay, come outside, talk to the podcast with me then.
That takes up.
I think this is really all that we have to talk about.
No, Twitter.
Oh, yep, Twitter. I mean,
Twitter.
What is there to say about Twitter? Twitter is not fun at all. I think...
if anyone says it's fun, they're lying.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Elon bought it, it's been kind of going down. I noticed he took out where it says this Twitter user is either a legacy account or bought Twitter Blue. On my end, it says I'm subscribed to Twitter Blue, but that's mainly because I hate people and I want them to see how much I hate them first before anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I hate you.
I hate you. See, you saw it first.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, apparently some of my opinions are controversial, such as how I drive. Because I'll drive so you know on the steering wheel, right? You know how there's that two curves on the bottom. I'll put my hands there, and then I'll drive. But when I'm turning, I put my hand on like the top of the wheel and just turn it with one hand because I know how to do that. And apparently that's like the most controversial thing I could ever say. People are like, "Oh no, you're crazy."
Yeah, you're honestly a really bad person.
Because of how I drive?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, no, you're a really awful person.
Yeah. And on Twitter, honestly, at this point I'm just getting tired of Twitter. There's nothing fun anymore. There's not much to do. Because I mean,
each their own. I mean, with my,
go ahead.
I like having fun with my, like I'm logged on my phone. I'm pretty sure I'm logged into 7 or 8 accounts.
Yeah. I mean, I'm logged into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm logged into like 6 accounts, but I never use other than like my other gimmick account, which is your valid.
Yeah.
But I'm bringing that back, so that's pretty good. But nonetheless,
on my phone, there's 8. So there's like my 2 SpongeBob ones, my main account, my alt account, my private account.
Yeah.
2 old gimmick accounts that like really niche audiences.
Yeah.
1 other automated bot account, still niche audience, and 1 that I don't ever use is my purse. I say my personal, like it's one where I only use it to follow IRLs and like campus related stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I mean, it does. I mean, I think you've just got like into it because you now have like a gimmick account posting the SpongeBob movie every like day or every few hours, I believe. Is it every day or every few hours?
Every few hours.
Every few hours. So yeah, I mean, you can't really just kind of just disappear from it. Because if you do, it's just...
I kind of could, honestly. I say that because it's all auto. But,
yeah.
At the same time, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah. You just have to check in on the bot then and there. Because if it breaks, then people are going to be like, why? Why did it break? And then people are going to start messaging you like, hey, the bot's broken, and then you'd have to go back to it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The one thing, I don't take the internet too seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I don't either.
Well, hang on. Here's the thing. As in, like, when it comes, if people exist on the internet, and like, let's say they were like to attack me on the internet, they probably wouldn't do it in person.
Yeah.
And even if, like, cause my main thing is I don't usually like if people hate me, if they dislike me, but if it's all over the internet, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
there was there was the thing a couple of months ago where at my campus they had a little thing where they had different clothes and whatnot, and just like free clothes for students, and I put on a little skirt and posted a picture of it. And there was
I
some
remember.
guy, yeah, there was some guy in my replies who was talking so much shit, thinking he was like, I don't know, he just thought he was the shit for telling me off for wearing a skirt.
Yeah. I mean, I think people think they are the shit because it's Twitter. And so they're hidden behind online persona and like how much followers they have. Because they have more followers than you, they think, oh, I can totally beat the shit out of this dude. Like I could ratio him. I could invalid his argument. You know what I mean? It's just strange.
Oh yeah, okay. So it was back in September. So I said, and there's nothing you can do about it. Posted a picture with the skirt, and that guy was talking so much shit. It,
Yeah.
it was so funny. I didn't even I didn't even care, hardly cared.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm trying to. Thing is, the guy got suspended, which was a massive W.
Honestly, the biggest W there is. I just don't understand how just people think it's okay to hate on people just for doing something they enjoy, like just for being a bit silly and goofy,
Yeah, like it genuinely, I did not hurt him.
right? Like you could be having the best time of your life, hurting nobody in the world, and somehow someone would just hate you for the rest of their life.
Okay, so I posted. He said, "Of course, the bro with the trans rights in his bio looks like this." So he actually came to me from the SpongeBob account.
That's interesting. So he found you through SpongeBob.
Yeah.
That sounds weirder
And a
than it
friend,
is.
and yeah, and a friend of mine was replying. It's like ironic considering the person I replied to is a chubby white kid wearing a skirt. And I was like, it was my, like as I said in my tweet, there's nothing you can do about it. Like the fact in the initial tweet, I'm like, and there's nothing you can do about it. He's
Are you using
and
Wayback to find it?
no, I took a video back then,
Oh yeah,
like a video of all the replies.
I found it.
Uh, Yeah, so he said, ironic considering the person who replied to was a chubby white kid wearing a skirt. And I said, as I said in my tweet, there's nothing you can do about it, Lamau. Anyway, trans rights go. And he's like, nothing brings me more solstice than the fact that people who say this shit are the biggest social losers ever. And of course, white.
And then
I say,
yeah, I see it.
I say, biggest social losers ever. Says the fucker who hunted down my main page for my gimmick just to show me for wanting equal rights for trans people. I'm not the one who started this shit. And he said, translation, I clicked on your publicly accessible main account. That's literally in the bio of the gimmick, which took me a total of 4 seconds to point out how much of a loser you are. And I said, that doesn't even change the fact that you're the loser for even pointing it out. And I do parentheses, ew, I don't share the same opinion as his public gimmick. Time to reply and spread hate on the internet. He's like, time to give a reality check to you permanently online losers that support transgenders because it's the right good thing to do.
Yeah, I
At
just
that point, they continued going back and forth with my friend.
yeah.
But like, you're calling me the terminally online person when you go out of your way to spread hate. Like, no, you do not have an argument. You're a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, I just don't understand how people think they're in the right, but at the same time they're like, "Oh, I must be in the right if I'm going out of my way to find out what their like actual account is. I gotta find their personal, get out of the gimmick. You know what I mean?
Also, I feel like there was probably a chance they thought I was trans just because of the dressing, but like, no clue.
Probably. I just don't understand like where he thought he was in the right to do so.
Yeah.
I don't know what else we can talk about. That's about it, ain't it?
I don't know. Your mom.
I think we'll end the episode of the Unfiltered Minds here for today, and we'll pick up whenever we have the motivation to do it again. Do you have any final words, Davey Dollar? Amazing. Well, this has been the Unfiltered Minds. This will probably never be picked up again. This is probably going to be posted on my channel once and then never again, as I learn how to edit YouTube videos and continue a career. Thank you, Davey Dollar. I will now be copyright striked. No!